Once, there was a Filipino who lived in an era where his country was conquered and enslaved for centuries. He grew up watching the cruelty unravel in front of his own eyes and decided, out of his good intentions, to change that. He started by striving through education, commitment, and faith, then communicated his message through his works, and inspired many to bring rise and awareness to the reality of the world. And he died fighting by giving people hope. This is the story of Jose Rizal, our beloved national hero, who strived for peace, equality, and love for our country. For the 5 days you say the same dumb words like a broken muñeca. Not guilty for this, no culpable para ese, all for the sake of what? Patriotic services.
You are wrong. Serving in the name of my country would bring me great joy that none could ever compare with, even from the lavishing lives that you all have.
See? There you go again. With your Moreria por esto, Moreria por eso. Do you not admit all of these crimes against you?
I deny any affiliation that could link me to the revolution. I wasn't part of such thing. I clearly stated that I was...
And that's where I come in. You see me, hijo. We Spaniards are known to be not lenient with the things that we want. Let's say that we have that deep passion surging on us from the depths of our heart. A certain passion that even others, such as yourself, would try to emulate in your own way. Need I say more, Senor Di Masalang? You didn't think that you would be able to hide that pen name forever, would you?
I used it in Hong Kong for...
See, hijo, and that was a big mistake. Tell me, do these 5 days of endless chatter mean nothing to you? Digame! What is that you're trying to prove?
That I am innocent.
Inocente de qué? Look at these letters. They're all against you, Mera. A letter of Antonia Luna to Mariano Ponce stating your connection to Filipino reforms, letters to families about deportation, your connection to propaganda in España, a poem of tyranny, a letter of Carlos Oliver stating that you would free the Philippines from the oppression.
I have told you so before, Coronel. If you're trying to ask me for something new, I suggest you give up while you still can.
For someone so smart, you're clearly disappoint me, Senor. Do you understand what you're saying here, Rizal? There are no turning backs from this. From this moment, nada.
Then I can only move forward.
Then forward it is. All the findings in this investigation would be handed to the appointed judge's advocate. Remember, Senor, you brought this on yourself.
Adelante. ¿Qué es, General Blanco?
Saludos a usted. I have received news from Coronel Uleve. He wants to appoint you as a judge advocate for this infamous Rizal from Calamba.
Am I not surprised?
He said not to restrain oneself in handling this case. Personally, I think this man really has nothing to be condemned for rather than writing his silly books.
So you think this man is innocent? Agree in the idiotic rumors of the patriotic Rizal? Here to free the slaves from the Spanish clutches? You believe all that?
I believe that you, as the judge, should be more objective regardless of who stands before you. Careful, Capitan. I still have a few more days before I leave my post.
Saludos a usted. Now that the accused has chosen his defensor, the following charges are presented as follows. Senor Jose Mercado Rizal is accused as the principal organizer and the living soul of the Filipino insurrection, the founder of societies, periodicals, and books dedicated to the fermenting, the propagating ideas of rebellion. I do not understand. No entiendes. How could he be charged with a rebellion? I did write the Constitution of Liga Filipina, but it was a civic association. Lo siento, senor, but I'm afraid you would take no further statement in the politics of the state. Farewell to you both.
Jose Rizal, I do not know what's happening inside that head of yours, but I need you to cooperate with me. We can't do anything. It's us against the country. No, it's us against injustice.
Dr. Jose Rizal E. Mercado, who owes it all to the Spain since it was in his universities that he studies medicine, is one of the principal, if not the principal, figure in the uprising. May we call on the prosecutor. Dr. Rizal, the man behind the unlawful literary works, namely Noli Me Tangere, Annotation to the History of the Philippines by Morga, and El Filibusterismo along with the rest, imprinted the idea of wars against religious orders on his people to protect this merely colony. It is no doubt Jose Rizal is the perpetrator of the rebellion, masking himself as a good guy, the hero guiding these people along with his treacherous crimes. As the symbol and catalyst of this rebellion, he must suffer the consequences through the penalty of penal code by punishment of death. The defending consultant may now take the floor.
Throughout the years, Rizal's name has been the war cry of the people, symbolizing the icon of the revolution, claimed his name and presence to be a threat to cause disarray among the people between the España and the Filipinas. On what grounds exactly has Rizal ever spoke on turning his back from Spain out loud? Has he hated our motherland so much to the point of savagely destroying our sacred country directly? Has he gallantly waved a weapon of choice in demands of bloodshed for change to happen? I don't think so. Although his so-called controversialities of literary works sold him as the subject of hate and rage, these works of critical judgment is advocation of the Philippines' rights as a step to national security and independence of this country. Through his daring minds and skills, he obtained the respect of his people alone, with good intentions to the Spaniards, even with those who raised him as a traitor. And because of these biases, it made clear that judging him fairly is impossible from this angle. Now, has the prosecutors any pang of guilt? The Rizal's theoretical standing of how our country should be placed on equal ground of respect showed inconsistency? Is that why you reject it? Is that why you suppressed it? Or it's just innocency and bothered egos that made the decisions for us? An objective perspective, his work doesn't even add up to the directly aggravatize and encourage an uprising. Rizal affirms for 4 years, since 1892 to 1896, as an exile of the Pitan, he stayed shut from anything that goes political. Even his encounter with Don Pio Valenzuela, who asked him to join and pioneer the revolt by coming with them and saving himself by escaping this inevitable day from his fate, he still rejected it. From this, we can rationally give thought to the verdict, in that so we plead, in the name of blind justice, that he is not guilty. The judges can only be just. From those victimized by the revolt, directly and indirectly, losing the ones they love, please don't let the desires of revenge and contempt get ahead of us. Give that part to those who are in battle. Let us speak of this trial fairly and objectively. Let us judge Jose Rizal, Mercado E. Alonzo, not for the sake of revenge, but for the sake of justice. The defense rests. Does the accused wish to add anything in his defense? Concerning the rebellion since July 6, 1892, I have not engaged in politics until June 1 of this year. When Dr. Valenzuela came to notify me about an uprising, thus proving that I have no prior contact with them. For if I were in touch, I would have already known about such a grave matter as an uprising. Another negative proof, they do not hold any previous letter from me. They exploited my name very cruelly, and at that last moment, by surprise, they wanted to take me. Why did they not contact me earlier? Possibly because they know that I, although less than conceited, was resigned about my exile, and I refused to consider many various schemes to escape from Dapitan. Regarding the rebellion, July 6, 1892, since my stay in Dapitan, I have not engaged in politics until June 1, when Dr. Valenzuela informed me about it, in which I rejected him and advised him not to. That was our first engagement with each other. Therefore, that was the first time I've heard of the uprising revolution. If I was the chief of the revolution, why was I not consulted by the revolutionists in the hour of their planning stage? Why now, where they have ruined my profile and rescued me in pursuit of their spite against España? Another fact suggests that I had a previous letter as evidence of being in cahoots with him. That is false. As stated previously, I had no contact with them until June 1. Knowing this now, they have sullied and abused my good name without me being aware of it. If I was guilty, I would have flown to Singapore. And going back, if I was indeed a perpetrator, I would have stayed as exile. But instead, flee to Moraventa and not invest in Dapitan, of whom I was familiar with. Why did they not visit? Because they know I have left in politics behind. And they are not aware that I am not in favor of obtaining freedom through a destructible revolt. All I desire for my motherland, Philippines, is to know the experience, the essence of liberty, not through brute force and bloody wars, but through the value of education. The court will be having a short recess to discuss the further implication of the trial.
The final decisions had been made. The judges have concluded in this verdict that we find the defendant guilty.
The day before his execution, visitors came to see him. It was a very grueling and exhausting day, both physically and emotionally. Some faces he knew, some faces he wasn't familiar with, until he saw the ever-loving face of his beloved mother. I'm sorry. Please forgive me, Mother. I'm so sorry.
I can't believe it. It's not true. It's not true.
Professor Ferdinand Blumentritt, my dear brother, when you receive this letter, I shall be dead. Tomorrow at 7, I shall be shot. But I am innocent of the crime of rebellion. I am going to die with a tranquil conscience. Goodbye, my best, my dearest friend, and never think of ill of me. To my family, I ask you for forgiveness for the pain I caused you. But someday, I shall have to die, and it is better than I die now, in the plenitude of my conscience. Dear parents, brother and sisters, give thanks to God that I may preserve my tranquility before my death. I die resigned, hoping that with my death you will be left in peace. It is better to die than to live in suffering. Console yourselves and enjoy to forgive one another the little meanness of your life. And try to live united in peace and good harmony. Treat your old parents as you would like to be treated by your children later. Love them very much in my memory. My beloved father, pardon me for the pain with which I repay, for sorrows and sacrifices for my education. I did not want, nor did I prefer it. Goodbye, Father. Goodbye.